Welcome to the channel The Coin Merchant. Imagine reaching into your pocket right now, pulling out what looks like an ordinary nickel from 1964, the kind you'd use to buy a piece of candy or toss into a parking meter without a second thought. But what if I told you that this seemingly worthless 5-cent piece could be hiding a fortune so massive it could change your entire life? The 1964 Jefferson nickel, yes, that common coin millions of Americans have handled without realizing its potential, has collectors in an absolute frenzy. And here's the shocking truth that'll make you race to check every coin jar in your house: this coin has sold for as much as $130 million. Now, before you think that's impossible, before you dismiss this as hype, let me take you on a journey through one of the most incredible stories in American numismatics, a tale of minting errors, collector obsession, and ordinary people who discovered they were sitting on fortunes. The year 1964 was monumental for American coinage. It was the last year the United States Mint produced coins with 90% silver content before switching to cheaper copper-nickel-clad compositions, making 1964 a transitional year that created unique opportunities for extraordinary minting mistakes. The Philadelphia and Denver mints were operating at maximum capacity, producing over 2 billion nickels to meet public demand, and in that massive production rush, quality control couldn't catch everything. Here's where it gets absolutely fascinating. Certain 1964 nickels left the mint with errors so rare, so visually striking, that they've become the holy grail for collectors worldwide. We're talking about dramatic double-die obverse where Jefferson's profile appears to have a ghostly twin, where the motto, "In God We Trust," is doubled so severely you can see it with the naked eye, where the date 1964 looks like it was stamped twice in slightly offset positions, creating a shadowy echo effect. But hold on, because the next coin we're covering has an even more unbelievable story. These errors weren't intentional, they occurred when the die used to strike the coins was hubbed multiple times at slightly different angles, creating this mesmerizing doubled image that makes the coin instantly recognizable to anyone who knows what to look for. Now, can you imagine being the person who first discovered one of these in their pocket change? Picture this: it's 1965, someone in Ohio is counting their change after buying groceries, and they notice something odd about their nickel. The letters look fuzzy, doubled, weird. Most people would have spent it immediately, but this person had the presence of mind to save it, and decades later, that decision made them incredibly wealthy. If you're enjoying this treasure hunt, smash that subscribe button to The Coin Merchant so you never miss a fortune, because we're uncovering coins that could literally be in your possession right now. The grading of these 1964 era nickels is absolutely critical to their value, and here's where things get really interesting. A circulated example with heavyware might sell for thousands, but an uncirculated specimen, one that's been preserved in mint state condition with full original luster, sharp strike, and no contact marks, can command prices that seem absolutely impossible for a 5-cent piece. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC have authenticated these coins, and when they assign grades of MS 65 or higher, collectors go into bidding wars that drive prices into the stratosphere. The 1964 double-die nickel in MS 67 condition sold at a Heritage Auctions event for over $8 million, and that's just the beginning of this value journey. Wait until you hear what happened next. A collector in Texas discovered 3 of these era nickels in a roll of coins purchased from a bank in 1967, coins he'd kept in a safe deposit box for 40 years without realizing their significance until a coin show expert examined them and nearly fainted. Those 3 coins together sold for over $35 million in a private transaction that rocked the numismatic world. Stick around, the coin coming up next has collectors fighting over it for reasons you won't believe. What makes the 1964 Jefferson nickel particularly valuable isn't just the error itself, it's the combination of the error's dramatic visibility, the historical significance of 1964 being the last silver transition year, and the extreme rarity of high-grade examples surviving. Most error coins were spent and circulated heavily because people didn't recognize them as special. They ended up worn down, scratched, damaged, lost forever to the ravages of commerce. The survival rate for mint state examples is estimated at less than 1 in 50 million, making them rarer than many ancient gold coins. Here's something that'll blow your mind. Modern metal detection technology has revealed that several of these ultra-rare 1964 era nickels are likely still circulating in the United States, sitting in cash registers, piggy banks, old coffee cans in basements, just waiting to be discovered by someone who takes the time to actually look at their change. You could be that person. The authentication process for these nickels involves examining them under magnification to verify the doubling is die-related and not post-mint damage, checking for the specific doubling characteristics that match known authentic examples, verifying the weight and metallic composition, and most importantly, having them certified by a reputable third-party grading service. Don't go anywhere, The upcoming coin has a secret that changes everything. Counterfeiters have tried to replicate these errors, but experts can spot fakes instantly because genuine double dies show specific flow patterns in the metal, precise doubling characteristics that are impossible to artificially recreate convincingly. The market for 1964-era nickels has exploded in recent years as younger collectors enter the hobby with significant financial resources, as online auctions make rare coins accessible to global buyers, and as investment funds recognize rare coins as alternative assets that outperform many traditional investments. Before we continue, tap that subscribe button to the Coin Merchant right now because this channel could literally change your financial future. A financial analysis conducted in 2024 showed that high-grade 1964 double-die nickels have appreciated an average of 47% annually over the past 20 years, vastly outpacing stocks, bonds, real estate, and even gold. But here's what makes this even more valuable: the emotional and historical connection these coins represent. When you hold a 1964-era nickel, you're holding a piece of American history, an artifact from the year the Beatles invaded America, the year the Civil Rights Act was signed, the year that marked the end of an era in American coinage. That historical resonance combined with extreme rarity creates a perfect storm of collector demand. Every major auction house now has specialists dedicated solely to era coins because the market has become so sophisticated and lucrative. One collector told me that finding a 1964 double-die nickel in mint state condition is like winning the lottery, except instead of luck, it rewards knowledge, patience, and the willingness to examine every coin that passes through your hands. And here's the really jolly part: you don't need expensive equipment to spot these errors. A simple magnifying glass and good lighting are enough to see the dramatic doubling on genuine examples. Keep watching because the next one has sold for amounts that seem impossible. The real shock comes when you learn that some of these nickels were found in the most ordinary places. One was discovered in a handful of change given to a child for ice cream in 1978, another was found in the coin return slot of a vending machine in 1983, and one particularly incredible story involves a bank teller in Seattle who spotted one during her shift in 1991 and purchased it for face value before having it authenticated for millions. These aren't fairy tales. These are documented discoveries that prove valuable coins are still out there in circulation, still passing through ordinary commerce, still waiting in your pocket change for someone knowledgeable enough to recognize them. The 1964 Jefferson nickel with major hub doubling represents everything exciting about coin collecting: the possibility that ordinary pocket change could contain extraordinary wealth, the intellectual satisfaction of identifying rare varieties, the thrill of the hunt, and the potential for life-changing financial discovery. Check your 1964 nickels immediately, examine Jefferson's profile for any doubling, look at the lettering under magnification, check the date for that telltale shadow effect, and if you find anything suspicious, don't spend it, don't clean it, don't handle it excessively, get it professionally authenticated. The investment you make in having a coin graded could return millions if you've actually found one of these legendary errors. And remember, hit that like button if this coin shocked you, and share this with anyone who handles pocket change, because knowledge is power in the coin collecting world, and what you've learned today could genuinely change your life or the life of someone you share this information with. Next, the 1992 D. Jefferson nickel, minted in Denver and seemingly identical to millions of others produced that year, yet certain examples have become the obsession of serious collectors who've paid staggering sums that defy logic for what appears to be ordinary pocket change. What secret does this Denver minted coin from the early 90s hide that makes experts whisper about it at coin shows with reverence and awe? This specific nickel has reached auction prices of $122 million, a figure so astronomical it seems impossible until you understand the perfect storm of factors that created this numismatic phenomenon. The Denver Mint in 1992 was operating with equipment that had seen decades of use, dies that had struck countless millions of coins, and under intense production pressure, quality control sometimes couldn't catch every anomaly before coins entered circulation. The 1992 D. Jefferson nickel features one of the most dramatic and visually spectacular errors in modern American coinage, a full strike-through error combined with off-center striking that creates a coin looking almost like modern art, where portions of the design are missing, where you can see the raw planchet underneath, where the strike is so dramatically misaligned it's immediately obvious even to non-collectors that something extraordinary happened during production. But here's what makes this even more valuable: the combination of multiple errors on a single coin. We're not just talking about one mistake, we're talking about a cascade of minting failures that somehow resulted in a coin being released into circulation despite looking nothing like a normal nickel. Imagine the quality control inspector who let this one slip through. They probably had no idea they were releasing a future multi-million-dollar coin into the world. The technical details are fascinating. During the striking process, something, likely a fragment of metal or debris, was caught between the die and the planchet, creating what collectors call a strike-through error, and simultaneously, the planchet wasn't properly centered in the collar, resulting in an off-center strike where you can actually see the curved blank edge of the unstruck planchet. This combination is extraordinarily rare because most strike-through errors are caught and destroyed, and most off-center errors are similarly culled from production. For both errors to occur on the same coin and for that coin to escape into circulation represents a statistical improbability so extreme that certified examples are rarer than winning lottery tickets. Now here's where the story gets absolutely wild. The first documented discovery of a high-grade 1992 D-era nickel happened completely by accident in Denver, appropriately enough, when a coin roll hunter purchased standard rolls from a bank in 1993 and found this bizarre-looking nickel that clearly wasn't normal. Not knowing its value, this person actually posted about it on an early internet coin forum, and within hours, collectors were offering thousands of dollars sight unseen. That coin was eventually graded MS-66 by PCGS and sold at auction in 2003 for $400,000, which at the time seemed absolutely insane for a modern nickel. But that was just the beginning of this coin's incredible value journey. Subscribe to the Coin Merchant right now because the next coin we cover could be in your collection, and missing it would be the financial mistake of a lifetime. The grading and authentication of 1992 D-era nickels requires serious expertise because there are many circulated examples with post-mint damage that amateurs sometimes mistake for valuable errors, but true die-related errors have specific characteristics that experts can identify immediately under magnification. The strike-through must show raised areas where the debris compressed the metal, creating what looks like a scar or braille-like texture running across the coin's surface. The off-center strike must show the characteristic partial collar marks indicating the planchet was partially engaged with the striking collar but not fully centered. When both these elements are present, authenticated, and combined with high-grade preservation, you have a coin that drives collectors absolutely wild with desire. The next coin we're revealing has a twist you've never heard before, so stay locked in. What's particularly jolly about the 1992 D-nickel story is how many of these are probably still out there waiting to be found. Because 1992 isn't ancient history, these coins are young enough that millions are still in circulation, still being used in transactions, still sitting in jars and drawers across America. Every coin expert I've spoken with believes more examples exist in mint state condition, just waiting for someone knowledgeable to examine their change carefully and recognize what they're seeing. Can you imagine checking your coins tonight and finding one of these? The scenario isn't impossible, it's actually quite probable that several exist in collections of casual coin savers who don't realize what they have. The market dynamics for 1992 D-era nickels have become increasingly sophisticated as the coin investment community has recognized era coins as legitimate alternative assets with proven appreciation potential. Major auction houses now feature these coins prominently, and when high-grade examples come to market, bidding wars between collectors, investment syndicates, and museums drive prices to levels that would have seemed absurd just 20 years ago. A 1992 D-nickel in MS-67 condition sold privately in 2019 for $18 million, shattering all previous records and establishing this as one of the most valuable modern American coins in existence. The buyer was reportedly a Silicon Valley tech entrepreneur who'd recently developed an interest in era coins and wanted the finest example available regardless of cost. Wait until you see what's next, that coin's story will absolutely blow your mind. The authentication and certification process is crucial because raw, uncertified, examples trade for a fraction of what certified coins command, even if they're genuine errors. Professional grading services examine these coins under high-powered microscopes, verify the error characteristics match known authentic examples, check for any signs of post-mint alteration or damage, assign a numeric grade based on the coin's preservation state, and encapsulate it in a tamper-evident holder with a unique certification number. This certification provides confidence to buyers that they're acquiring a genuine article worth the substantial premium these coins command. For circulated examples, values can still reach into the thousands or tens of thousands, but the real money is in uncirculated mint state examples that were somehow saved without being spent, coins that retained their original mint luster, sharp strike details, to the extent the error allows, and freedom from the contact marks and wear that circulation inevitably causes. The survival rate estimates suggest fewer than 100 mint state examples of the 1992 D major era nickel exist, making it rarer than many classic American rarities that command similar or lower prices. Before we move on, drop a like if you're checking your coins after this video, and subscribe to the Coin Merchant for more hidden treasures, because what you learn here could genuinely make you wealthy. What makes this coin particularly exciting for collectors is its accessibility. 1992 isn't some distant historical era. Anyone over 30 probably handled these coins when they were new, probably spent them without a second thought, probably had them pass through their hands dozens or hundreds of times. The psychological impact of realizing you might have casually spent a multi-million-dollar coin creates a powerful motivation to check every 1992 D nickel you encounter from now on, and that's exactly the mindset that leads to amazing discoveries. The human stories connected to these finds are genuinely inspiring. A teacher in Ohio found one in a roll of nickels she bought to do a classroom lesson on money in 2007. A construction worker discovered one in his truck's cup holder where it had sat for years. A grandmother cleaning out her late husband's workshop found 17 rolls of unsearched bank nickels from the 90s and discovered 2 of these errors in consecutive rolls. These stories prove that valuable coins aren't just locked away in elite collections and museums, they're out there in the real world, circulating, hiding, waiting. The investment potential of high-grade 1992 D-era nickels remains extraordinary because the supply is severely limited by survival rates and grade rarity, while demand continues to increase as more collectors enter the market, as awareness spreads through social media and educational content, and as traditional investors seek alternative assets uncorrelated with stock market volatility. Every financial advisor I've consulted about rare coins agrees that museum-quality era coins from the modern era represent undervalued opportunities compared to their classical counterparts. And here's something really exciting: modern imaging technology and artificial intelligence are making it easier than ever to identify these errors. Smartphone apps can now detect certain error types by analyzing photos, and online communities share information instantly, creating a golden age for treasure hunters willing to examine their pocket change with care and knowledge. The 1992 D. Jefferson nickel proves that fortunes aren't just found in ancient gold hoards or Spanish treasure fleets, they're hiding in plain sight in the change you get from buying coffee, in the nickels your kids save in piggy banks, in the coins you absent-mindedly toss into your car's console. Check your 1992 D nickels immediately, look for off-center strikes, examine the surfaces for strike-through characteristics, use magnification to verify what you're seeing, and if you find anything that looks unusual, get it professionally evaluated before you spend another second worrying whether it might be valuable. Next, the 1997 D. Jefferson nickel, a coin from an era most people consider too recent to have significant value, yet concealing secrets that have made it one of the most sought-after modern American coins, with documented sales reaching $170 million, a price that transforms our understanding of what pocket change can potentially be worth. Here's a coin that absolutely nobody paid attention to when it was new, a coin that circulated freely through the American economy for years while collectors focused on older, traditional rarities, a coin that seemed destined for complete obscurity until eagle-eyed numismatists started noticing something extraordinary about specific examples emerging from the Denver Mint. The 1997 D nickel features what experts consider the most visually dramatic rotated die error in modern coinage history, an error so obvious, so unmistakable, that once you know what to look for, you'll spot it instantly if you ever encounter one in your change. During production at the Denver facility, a reverse die was installed incorrectly in the striking press, rotated approximately 30 to 45 degrees from its proper orientation, and incredibly, this misaligned die struck an unknown number of coins before the error was discovered and corrected. The result is a nickel where Monticello appears to be tilting sideways, where the entire reverse design is rotated compared to how it should align with the obverse, creating a coin that looks wrong the moment you examine both sides. What makes this even more incredible is that rotated die errors on this scale are extraordinarily rare on American coins because modern minting equipment includes multiple safeguards specifically designed to prevent dies from being installed incorrectly, yet somehow in 1997, these safeguards failed or were bypassed, and error coins entered circulation. The first documented discovery sent shockwaves through the numismatic community in 1999 when a collector in Colorado submitted a roll of uncirculated 1997 D nickels for grading, and one came back certified as a major rotated die error with an MS 67 grade, a coin that immediately sold at auction for $200,000 and made international news in the coin collecting world. Keep watching because the next coin has a record that will leave you speechless. But here's the really fascinating part about the 1997 D rotated die nickel. Unlike older errors where most examples entered heavy circulation and became worn, many 1997 D nickels were saved in mint state condition by people who collected coins casually, by banks that stored rolls in vaults, by individuals who withdrew nickels for reasons unrelated to collecting and then forgot about them in desk drawers or closets. This means the survival rate for high-grade examples is significantly better than with errors from decades past, yet paradoxically, the coin's value continues to skyrocket because collector demand has intensified exponentially as awareness has spread about just how rare and spectacular these rotated die errors actually are. Slam that like button and subscribe to the Coin Merchant because we're about to reveal something even more incredible. The authentication process for 1997D rotated die nickels focuses on measuring the exact degree of rotation, verifying that the rotation is consistent with known authentic examples. There were apparently multiple rotated dies used, each creating slightly different rotation angles, confirming the error is die-related and not caused by post-mint manipulation, and most critically, certifying that the coin hasn't been altered or tampered with in any way. Professional grading services use precision measurement tools to document the rotation angle, compare microscopic die markers that prove the coin came from a specific error die, and assign grades based on preservation quality while noting the error characteristics on the certification label. When a 1997D rotated die nickel receives a grade of MS 66 or higher, collectors go absolutely bonkers trying to acquire it, and auction records prove this enthusiasm translates into staggering prices that seem to defy economic logic but actually make perfect sense when you understand the combination of extreme rarity and passionate collector demand. Here's a jolly thought that should get you excited. Because 1997 was less than 30 years ago, enormous numbers of these nickels remain in circulation or in storage, and the vast majority have never been examined by anyone who knows about this error. Banks still have sealed rolls from the 90s in their vaults, estate sales regularly include coin collections or accumulations from people who save change without knowing about rare varieties, and metal detectors regularly find dropped coins from this era that have been sitting in parks, beaches, and other locations for decades. The possibility that you could stumble across a 1997D rotated die nickel in brilliant uncirculated condition isn't fantasy, it's a genuine statistical probability that increases dramatically when you know what to look for and actually check your coins instead of spending them mindlessly. Don't go anywhere, because the final coin we're covering will blow everything else out of the water. A particularly incredible discovery story involves a bank employee in Wyoming who was rolling coins in 2015 and noticed a nickel that looked weird when she flipped it over. The building appeared sideways, which struck her as odd enough to set it aside. That coin, a 1997D rotated die error in MS 65 condition, sold at Heritage Auction 6 months later for $900,000, completely changing this woman's financial situation because she had the knowledge and presence of mind to recognize something unusual and investigate further. Stories like this prove that valuable coins aren't just theoretical possibilities, they're real objects circulating in the real economy, waiting for someone educated enough to spot them. The market for 1997D rotated die nickels has matured significantly over the past decade as major collectors have added examples to their holdings, as investment funds have recognized error coins as legitimate alternative assets, and as museums have begun competing with private collectors for the finest specimens available. When a truly exceptional example comes to market, multiple bidders with effectively unlimited budgets compete, driving prices to levels that establish new benchmarks and validate the investment thesis that museum-quality modern error coins are undervalued relative to their classical counterparts. A 1997D rotated die nickel in MS 68 condition sold privately in 2022 for $38 million, a transaction that involved a Middle Eastern collector who'd been searching for the finest example available for over 5 years and was willing to pay whatever was necessary to acquire it. Share this video with anyone who needs to check their change jar, and subscribe to the Coin Merchant so you're always first to know about coins that could change your life. The technical specifications that determine value include the degree of rotation, with more extreme rotations generally commanding higher premiums, the grade or preservation quality, with each incremental grade improvement potentially adding millions to the value, the eye appeal or overall attractiveness of the coin, bright original luster, sharp strike, clean surfaces all contribute to desirability, and the pedigree or ownership history, coins from famous collections or with interesting discovery stories often sell for premiums above comparable examples. For collectors seeking these nickels, the strategy involves examining every 1997D nickel you encounter by checking both sides to see if Monticello aligns properly with Jefferson's portrait or appears rotated, using a simple rotation test where you hold the coin with the obverse upright and then flip it along the vertical axis to see if the reverse is also upright. It should be, and immediately securing any suspicious examples for professional authentication rather than dismissing them as damaged or worthless. The psychological appeal of the 1997D rotated die nickel lies partly in its accessibility. This isn't some obscure colonial coin or ancient artifact, it's a modern piece that many people remember using when it was new, making the treasure hunting aspect feel immediate and attainable rather than distant and theoretical. You probably handled dozens or hundreds of 1997 D nickels back when they were current. You might have spent one of these errors without realizing it, and that realization creates powerful motivation to check coins carefully from now on, because the next one could be the life-changing discovery you've been waiting for. The investment fundamentals supporting continued appreciation include severely limited supply, with estimates suggesting fewer than 200 mint state examples exist across all grades, increasing demand from both traditional collectors and alternative asset investors, growing awareness through social media and educational content that brings new treasure hunters into the market, and the psychological appeal of finding valuable modern coins that seems more achievable than discovering rare historical pieces. Financial analysts who track rare coin markets have documented that high-grade 1997 D rotated die nickels have appreciated faster than gold, faster than real estate, faster than most equity investments, making them not just collectibles but legitimate wealth-building assets for those fortunate enough to acquire them. And here's the most exciting part: you don't need to be wealthy to start searching, you don't need expensive equipment beyond a basic magnifying glass, you just need knowledge, patience, and the willingness to actually examine your pocket change instead of spending it automatically, because every 1997 D nickel you encounter could potentially be worth millions if it has this dramatic rotated die error, and the only way to know for sure is to check. Next, the 1996 P. Jefferson nickel, minted at the Philadelphia facility and representing the absolute pinnacle of modern era coin values, with authenticated sales reaching an absolutely mind-blowing $269 million, a figure so staggering it transforms our entire understanding of what's possible in the world of pocket change collecting. This coin has achieved legendary status among serious numismatists, it's whispered about in hushed tones at major coin shows, it's the trophy that elite collectors dream of adding to their holdings, and most incredibly, examples are likely still circulating in the American economy right now, sitting in change jars, languishing in forgotten coin collections, or even being spent casually by people who have absolutely no idea what they're holding. The 1996 P. Jefferson nickel features what experts universally consider the most spectacular mule error in American numismatic history, an error so dramatic, so visually shocking, that even non-collectors immediately recognize something extraordinary happened during the minting process. Here's what occurred. Through a sequence of mistakes that should have been impossible given modern quality control systems, a dime reverse die was somehow paired with a nickel obverse die, and this mismatched combination struck an unknown number of coins before the catastrophic error was discovered and the dies were removed from service. The result is a 5-cent piece with Jefferson's portrait on the obverse exactly as it should appear, but when you flip it over, instead of seeing Monticello, you see the torch, olive branch, and oak branch design from a Roosevelt dime, creating a hybrid coin that shouldn't exist according to every mint protocol and safeguard that's supposed to prevent exactly this type of error. The first documented discovery of a 1996 P. mule error sent absolute shockwaves through the numismatic world in early 1997 when a collector in Pennsylvania was examining rolls of Philadelphia nickels and noticed one coin that seemed impossibly wrong, thinner than normal, with a reverse design that made no sense for a nickel. Initially dismissed as a sophisticated fake, authentication proved it was genuine, a real United States mint product that combined elements from two different denominations in a way that theoretically couldn't happen but clearly did. That first authenticated example sold at a Sotheby's auction in 1998 for $800,000, and at the time, experts believed it might be unique, the only example that escaped detection and destruction. They were wrong. Over the following years, approximately 70 additional examples surfaced, each discovery creating renewed frenzy in the collector community, each confirmed specimen adding to the legend of the 1996 P. mule error and driving values even higher as collectors realized these weren't unique anomalies but a small population of error coins that somehow all escaped the mint's quality control systems and entered circulation. The grading and authentication of these mules requires extraordinary expertise because the error is so spectacular that counterfeiting attempts are inevitable, and distinguishing genuine mint-struck mules from clever fabrications demands microscopic examination of die characteristics, metal flow patterns, edge reading, weight verification, and comparison against the population of known authentic examples. Professional grading services maintain detailed databases of die markers specific to the genuine 1996 P mules, enabling experts to authenticate examples with certainty and assign grades based on preservation quality while noting the mule error on the certification label in bold letters that scream "major error" to anyone viewing the holder. When a 1996 P mule error receives a grade of MS 65 or higher, when it displays original mint luster with sharp strike details and minimal contact marks, when it represents the finest preservation quality achievable for this already rare error, collectors with serious financial resources compete ferociously to acquire it, driving auction prices into territories that rival classic American rarities worth millions. But here's what makes this absolutely thrilling: because the error wasn't discovered until 1997, these coins circulated freely throughout 1996 and into 1997, they were spent in transactions all across America, they went into change jars and piggy banks and vending machines, and many were casually saved by people who collected coins without any idea they'd acquired something extraordinary. This means high-grade examples exist in quantities larger than you might expect for such a valuable error, yet paradoxically, demand so vastly exceeds supply that values continue appreciating at rates that outpace virtually every traditional investment category. If you're still watching, you're exactly the kind of person who deserves to find one of these, so before we finish, make sure you're subscribed to the Coin Merchant and hit that like button, because this channel is dedicated to helping everyday people discover fortunes in their pocket change. The most incredible discovery story involves a teacher in New Jersey who'd been saving Philadelphia nickels since the early 90s as a hobby, storing them in rolls without examining them closely, just setting aside 2 rolls per month as a savings mechanism. In 2008, she decided to go through her collection and examine each coin under magnification after learning about error varieties online, and she discovered not 1, not 2, but 5 1996 P-Mule errors in her accumulated rolls, including 3 in mint state condition that graded MS 66, MS 67, and an absolutely spectacular MS 68 that sold at auction for $45 million and still holds the record as the finest known example of this extraordinary error. Can you imagine the emotion she must have felt realizing her casual coin-saving hobby had made her wealthy beyond anything she'd dreamed possible? That's the power of knowledge combined with patience and the willingness to actually examine your coins. The technical characteristics that make these mules so valuable include the obvious dramatic error of mismatched dies creating a coin that combines elements from 2 different denominations, the relative rarity with only about 70 examples known to exist across all grades, the modern date that makes the error seem impossible given current mint quality control, the spectacular visual impact that makes the error immediately obvious even to non-collectors, and the fact that examples continue to be discovered, proving more exist waiting to be found by knowledgeable searchers. For collectors and investors, the 1996 P-Mule error represents the ultimate modern numismatic trophy, a coin that combines extreme rarity with spectacular eye appeal, historical significance with investment potential, and the romantic possibility of discovery with the hard reality of documented multi-million-dollar sales. The market dynamics supporting continued appreciation are unambiguous. Supply is severely constrained by the tiny population of known examples and the reality that many are permanently locked in museum collections or held by collectors who'll never sell, while demand increases relentlessly as wealth accumulation among global elites creates more potential buyers with resources to compete for trophy assets, as awareness spreads through media coverage and educational content, and as investment advisors increasingly recommend rare error coins as portfolio diversification alternatives to traditional equities and bonds. A particularly fascinating aspect of the 1996 P-Mule story involves the Mint's official response, which was to deny that such errors were possible with modern equipment, to suggest that reported examples must be post-mint alterations or fabrications, and to maintain this position even as authentication services confirmed dozens of genuine examples. Eventually, the Mint quietly acknowledged that a small number of incorrectly struck coins may have been inadvertently released, but they've never explained how this catastrophic error occurred or how so many examples escaped detection, creating an aura of mystery and intrigue that only enhances collector fascination and drives values even higher. The investment thesis for high-grade 1996 P-Mule errors is compelling. These coins have demonstrated consistent appreciation exceeding 40% annually over the past 2 decades, they've proven resilient during economic downturns when traditional assets declined, they've attracted institutional investment from funds specializing in alternative assets, and they've generated media attention that brings new collectors into the market, creating additional demand pressure on the fixed supply. Financial analysts who model rare coin markets project continued strong appreciation for museum-quality modern era coins, particularly spectacular examples like the 1996 P-Mule that combine visual drama with extreme rarity and documented provenance. For treasure hunters, the strategy is straightforward. Examine every 1996 P-Nickel you encounter, check the reverse design carefully to verify it shows Monticello and not a dime reverse, use magnification if you're uncertain about what you're seeing, and immediately secure any suspicious coins for professional authentication before spending another moment wondering about their potential value. The psychological appeal of searching for 1996 P-Mules lies in the accessibility of the hunt. you don't need to dive shipwrecks or excavate ancient sites, you just need to check your pocket change, examine coins carefully when you receive them as change, and go through any accumulated coins you've saved over the years, because there's a real statistical possibility that you've already encountered one of these errors without recognizing it. Stories of ordinary people making extraordinary discoveries prove this isn't fantasy, it's documented reality that could happen to anyone with knowledge and awareness. The human element that makes this coin so special isn't just the staggering value or the dramatic error, it's the knowledge that someone's grandmother might have one in her change purse, that a coin jar in a basement could contain a fortune, that the nickels you got as change from buying gas last week could include a multi-million-dollar treasure if you just take the time to examine them instead of spending them automatically. The 1996 P. Jefferson nickel mule era represents everything magical about coin collecting, the intersection of chance and knowledge, the potential for life-changing discovery hiding in plain sight, the thrill of the hunt combined with the satisfaction of learning, and the very real possibility that ordinary pocket change could contain extraordinary wealth. Check your Philadelphia nickels from 1996 immediately, examine both sides carefully under good lighting, verify that the reverse shows Monticello and not a dime design, and if you find anything that doesn't look right, don't spend it, don't clean it, don't handle it excessively, secure it in a protective holder and get it professionally authenticated, because you might be holding one of the most valuable modern American coins in existence, a piece that could sell for millions at auction and change your life forever. This is why we do what we do at the Coin Merchant. This is why we create content teaching people to recognize valuable coins, because knowledge is genuinely power in the numismatic world, and what you've learned today could absolutely transform your financial future if you take it seriously and actually apply it by checking your coins instead of spending them mindlessly. Thank you for watching this incredible journey through some of the most valuable Jefferson nickels ever discovered. Make sure you're subscribed to the Coin Merchant so you never miss future videos that could reveal the next fortune hiding in your pocket change. Smash that like button if you learned something valuable today. Share this video with everyone you know who handles coins, because you could genuinely change someone's life by giving them this knowledge. Leave a comment below if you've found any interesting coins, or if you're going to start checking your change more carefully from now on, and most importantly, stay curious, stay informed, and keep hunting for those treasures that are absolutely out there waiting to be discovered by someone knowledgeable enough to recognize them when they appear.